Yes, and you like pizza, right? I mean, you can't go wrong with pizza. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, hot, cold. Seems like it's always good. Well, for some folks, eating pizza may not be so easy. We're talking people who have a sensitivity to gluten. So today we are making gluten-free pizza. Nancy Roman is joining us. So first of all, you've heard about gluten a little bit, but maybe don't completely understand what it is. I don't know that I completely understand, because all of a sudden there's this gluten-free craze.
What is gluten?
So what is it? And do we all need to be on a gluten-free diet?
No, not everybody needs to be on a gluten-free diet. And to answer your first question, gluten is a protein that is naturally found in wheat products. And when I say wheat, that's wheat, rye, and barley. Okay. Now, when you say wheat, a lot of people automatically think whole wheat, but it's not just whole wheat. It's anything that has wheat in it. So, for instance, pizza crust. Now, this is a gluten-free pizza crust, but your typical pizza crust has wheat in it. It is made from a wheat flour, which is going to include your white flours as well as your whole wheat flours. Gluten is a protein. When you have celiac disease, your body cannot process the gluten that's found in foods. It's an immune response, so that means your body is automatically going to attack that gluten. And what it does is it destroys your small intestine. We'll get into the physiology here, but it destroys what's called the villi in your small intestine. And your villi are extremely important when it comes to absorbing food and vitamins and minerals. And if you have celiac disease and you're ingesting gluten, you lose that ability. It actually destroys the villi on your small intestine.
It's disrupting your immune system overall.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what are some foods that may not even be obvious that have gluten in them? I mean, you think about bread. I mean, that's a biggie. So
that's
cereal,
right there. Yeah, bread,
like
cereal. You think of the breading that you're going to use when you're frying anything, fried chicken or fried okra, any type of breading that's on a product, any type of breading or breadcrumbs that you're using as a binder, meatloaf, salmon patties, anything like that when you're putting breadcrumbs in. It also can be found, wheat can be used in processing. Some vinegars can contain gluten because it's made with a wheat byproduct. Now, if your vinegar says, I don't want everybody to panic and go to their pantry and throw out their vinegar if you're suffering from celiacs. But if your vinegar is distilled, you're probably safe. But you have to read labels very, very carefully, and they all should say gluten-free, and they should also say processed in a plant or a separate part of the plant where wheat and wheat products aren't processed as well. Because just the dust, the contamination can put enough gluten in a product to make it dangerous for people with celiac disease.
And I brought that up too because I have a friend who has a gluten allergy, and I know that she was always allergic to beer.
Absolutely.
May not think about that. And
Absolutely.
So now,
I didn't even go the alcohol route.
Yeah, you go to like Fresh Market and places like that, you can see and I'm sure a lot of other stores as well, but you'll see gluten-free beer they're starting to come out with to cater to those folks as well. So how do you find out that you have a gluten allergy?
You need to see your doctor, and they will perform several types of tests. The first is usually a blood test, and they'll look at some of the results from that, and if that leads to a suspicion that there might be celiac disease, then they will perform other tests and actually look at your small intestine to see if there's been any damage to that all-important villi.
So just stomach cramps?
Stomach cramps, bloating, kind of just an intolerance. People that have had it for a while and haven't realized it, that can lead to some deficiencies in vitamins and minerals because your body's not absorbing them. Once that villi is destroyed, you lose the ability to absorb all those important vitamins and minerals that your body needs.
So if you're having these problems, very important that you do see your doctor.
Absolutely.
Because if you just let it go, it could cause other problems.
Absolutely.
Okay, I know we want to cook, but we ended up talking so much about celiac disease and gluten, and it is really interesting. We are going to start cooking this pizza. We are going to make a gluten-free pizza coming up in just a few minutes. Now, in the meantime, do be sure that you go to fox10tv.com and log on our Studio 10 page, and you can get this recipe. We'll start putting things together when we come back to the kitchen in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks a lot, Cherish. Very cute puppy there for Pet of the Week. And we are back in the kitchen now with Nancy Roman. We are making some gluten-free pizza, which actually, I have to be honest, does not look like it's going to be that hard for us to do.
No, not at all.
The key is finding the right ingredients, though, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so what do we need to be looking for? I mean, you have a pizza crust, you got everything here. How do we know we found the right things?
You need to read labels.
Okay.
That's what it comes down to, is reading labels. So we have a gluten-free pizza crust here. This is made from rice flour, something that we don't typically think of when we're baking, but the gluten-free pizza crust. The other important and sometimes more difficult when you're dealing with gluten or celiac disease and trying to locate gluten is in your canned products.
Okay.
Now this Di Fratelli, I was working on my Italian accent the whole way over here, Di Fratelli products, their whole line is gluten-free. So tomatoes are naturally gluten-free, but they're not using any wheat or wheat byproducts in their processing of the tomatoes. So they offer a full line of tomato products, sauces, salsas, and you can find these in all the local grocery stores.
Okay, so you went with that, and that is our sauce for our pizza.
Absolutely. We're using the Di Fratelli pizza sauce. Now, the other aspect when it comes to pizza is cheese, of course.
Right.
As a registered dietitian with the Southeast Dairy Association, cheese is dear to me.
Right.
So cheese and any dairy products is another naturally gluten-free product, and it's important for your healthy diet. So you've got the tomatoes, which are chock full of vitamins and potassium, and then you've got your cheese, which has your calcium and your vitamin D and your protein, and your gluten-free pizza crust. And you're set.
And you spread something over top of this.
I put a little bit of olive oil on top of the pizza crust and then sprinkled a little black pepper.
Okay, and then the next step would be to create our pizza.
And we're just going to take some of our Di Fratelli pizza sauce, spread it over
and so
crust.
Serving size isn't an issue because there's nothing to worry about within the product. So you can do as much pizza sauce as you want.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. As saucy as you like it or as little sauce as you prefer.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then we have a mixture here. I have mozzarella, Monterey Jack, Parmesan, and Asiago cheeses. And this is all a mixture right here.
And you just spread that out?
And we're just going to sprinkle it on. And again, as much cheese as you like. Your protein on this pizza is coming from the cheese.
Very good. And in just a second, we're going to put this in the oven, and when we come back, we will see the finished product. But the key here is reading those labels and to know what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to come back in the kitchen and cook this up. Cherish and Michael.
Welcome back to our kitchen here on Studio 10. We're cooking gluten-free this morning. We have Nancy Roman, so gluten-free. Who needs to be eating gluten-free?
Anybody with celiac disease should be eating gluten-free, and basically that means eliminating wheat, rye, and barley out of the diet. So you're going to use flours like rye, or I'm sorry, not rye, corn, soy, buckwheat, the grains like quinoa, and use those as the basis to make your pizza crust.
Okay, gluten is in a lot, more things than you realize when you really start thinking about it. So you don't want to eliminate pizza so many times. Like, what? Have to eliminate pizza? But you are giving us an option where we don't have to if we have celiac disease or any kind of gluten sensitivity. So tell us what you're using.
Okay, well, we started with the gluten-free pizza crust, and then the all-important pizza sauce is from Di Fratelli. Practicing that Italian accent still. And they are a fourth-generation family-owned company that's in Ohio that's manufactured by Herzel, and they've been around since either 23 or 27. But their whole line is completely gluten-free. So we're using their pasta sauce, and then of course topping the pizza with cheese. Everybody loves cheese, and that's another naturally gluten-free product that you can use. So very simple to prepare. We just spread the pizza sauce, added a little black pepper for seasoning, and then our cheeses, which I have a blend of mozzarella, Parmesan, Monterey Jack, and Asiago to really give it some unique nutty flavor.
Okay, sounds good. Test us out.
Yeah, I cut you off a little piece this time.
Piece,
so you didn't have to shove it all in your mouth on TV.
This is just my size. Okay.
Now, it's going to taste different, and that's what I always tell my clients is, this is using rice flour. It's not wheat flour, so it's a completely different taste than we're used to. Different doesn't mean bad.
It's good.
It's very light. It's crispy.
It doesn't taste that different, honestly. Wow, that is really yummy. So where can we get these products? We know we can get cheese, but where can we get the sauce and the gluten-free crust?
All of these are at our local grocery stores. I was shopping at Publix to obtain all these ingredients, but I'm sure all the other grocery stores in town carry them as well.
So right around the corner, and you can get the recipe. I mean, it's pretty easy to remember, but if you want to get the recipe from our website, we encourage you to do that as well. And then, you know, our website is always changing, always something new there, so you want to visit fox10tv.com as much as you possibly can. See what's new, check out our recipes, and of course enter those contests. Fox10tv.com. Just log on the Studio 10 page. Try something new. Try this gluten-free pizza. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Yummy.